Welcome to you all to the 4th Annual Chicago Critics Film Festival.
Really, this festival is about building buzz for movies we love. So if you watch this movie and you adore it, tell your friends. It's coming out later this summer. Everything you see here, tell your friends how much you like it. That's the whole purpose of why we do this for free, entirely not for profit, because we love movies, and we know you do too. Thanks. Ladies and gentlemen, Chad Hartigan. One quick thing. We had Chad Hartigan's film, This Is Martin Bonner, our first year, and it was arguably my favorite film of that first inaugural festival. So I am ecstatic that he's back to introduce our 4th festival.
Thank you. Thank you. This is the first time I've ever had an organ intro. It's pretty nice. I'd like that guy to follow me around. Thank you guys for coming out to see the movie. And thank you for having me at the festival. This is only my 2nd time in Chicago, and it's nice. It sounds like the party is going to be at the Omni Hotel after this screening. I don't like to say too much before the movie. I just wanted to thank you for coming and hope you enjoy it. I'll be back afterwards for a Q&A with a special guest from the film. I hope you'll stick around and ask us tons of great questions. But that's really all. I hope that you like it. Play me off, guy.
My name is Steve Prokopy. I'm a member of the Chicago Film Critics Association. I'm a Chicago editor for Ain't It Cool News. And I will moderate this Q&A today. Let's bring Chad back out, Chad Hartigan, the writer-director.
Thanks for sticking around.
Do you want to introduce your special guest?
Yeah, we have a special guest, Chicago's own Mr. Craig Robinson.
Hello. Who wrote the raps? Who wrote the raps for Morris?
So I wrote the bad raps. Fucking all the bitches 2 at a time is something I wrote when I was 12 years old. And my mom found it in my notebook and I got in big trouble. And that's a memory that I preserved and wanted to put into the film. But then the good rap at the end, we outsourced to a real rapper.
No, I think people might be surprised to learn that this is a fairly autobiographical story. Can you talk about like what elements of this are out of your life, and how did you transition this into the story of this father and son living in Germany?
Yeah, it definitely started out biographical. I wanted to make a film in Europe because I grew up there. I was born and raised in Cyprus in the Mediterranean. And honestly, the very first seed of the movie was I really, when I was 12, went through a big humping my pillow phase. And
I'm gonna move my chair over.
Sorry. Don't act like you didn't have one too.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And I one time dressed my pillow up and danced with it and like wined and dined it before I humped it, and it was an anecdotal story that always got a certain reaction when you told it, and I was like, that would be such a great scene in a movie if you could capture what's so awkward and tender and innocent about that. So that's the first thing that made me think like, oh, maybe I'll try and build a coming of age movie around that. And I started compiling other things from my own life. Like I really did get squirted in the pants when I thought I was getting a kiss by the first girl I loved, and things like that. But I'm not, I don't want to just like put my autobiography on the screen. Like, I want to start from that place, but then take it away from myself, so that if you can find someone else to be the vessel for that, who's different from you, then maybe it challenges you to distill those experiences into something that anybody can understand, no matter what the audience member's particular background is.
I know you didn't write this for Craig, and I'm sure you guys will agree with me. Craig, I can't imagine anyone else playing this part. Not just because you're so good in it, but to have those musical aspects to it. I mean, it just seems like it's just like, I mean, it must have spoken to you in some way when you read the screenplay. Can you talk about reading it and talking about what you responded to with Curtis?
Thank you for that. Yeah, when I read it, I just, like you said, responded to it. It has so much heart, and it was the language. Like, I was like, that's how I talk, you know. And then the hip hop, you know, the music aspect was, and I really love the relationship between the father and between Curtis and Morris. I hadn't seen that before, you know, in any genre, any people. It was, you know, and he had to play both sides of it, trying to skate that line between father and friend. So I just found it very interesting.
Yeah. You do not have any kids, so who did you base this relationship?
That he knows of.
That he knows of. I'm sorry, but that he said it. But so where did you sort of base that relationship off of?
Well, my parents, you know, we're very close. We're very supportive, and they have a good cop, bad cop thing going. My mom being a good cop, my dad being.
Hey, Mom is here tonight, right? Mom is in the audience.
Mom and Dad, where y'all at?
Mom and Dad are here. Okay.
Yeah, So I definitely drew from them, and that's why I was able to, you know, make those turns from very nice guy to maybe like the scene where he was talking to the tutor and be like, you know, hey, stay on my business, stay on my son's business.
I want to talk about her because she's a real interesting character. I don't know if any of you saw a movie called Wetlands a couple of years ago, but that's her. Like, and I didn't recognize. I've seen the movie twice. I didn't recognize her until I looked it up. And she's going to be huge. She's like already in the next Blade Runner thing that's happening. But tell me about like the purpose of that character and the role of that character, and is that the film? Was Wetlands the film that you saw her in the first time? You said, yeah, we got to get her in this.
Yeah, Wetlands I saw. Wetlands is a movie that was at Sundance, a German movie about a girl obsessed with her bodily fluids.
It's
and
really dirty,
bonkers.
so go see it. It's great. It's really good.
And she's so incredible in it that I was like, I would love to work with her one day, but I assumed she would be too famous to do this part, which is a supporting part. But we sent it to her anyway, and she really responded to it because when she was 15, she went to New York on a hockey scholarship and didn't speak a word of English, and was one of the only white people where she went, and felt very much like an outsider and related to the story of Morris. So she wanted to do the movie for that reason. And her character was meant to just sort of be that outlet for Morris, where you know there's certain things he can't talk to his dad about, and there's certain things that he can't talk to people his own age about. And so it's nice to have that outlet for the audience to have a reason for him to say these other things and talk about stuff. And but it's important for me to not have any character feel like they're just a stock character for the main protagonist. So it was important for her to feel like she had her own life going on as well with her boyfriend and whatever.
Yeah, I don't think either of the films that I've seen of yours could ever be accused of having stock characters in it. You don't introduce a character just to serve a single purpose. You always seem to give them each a life that is, you know, worth almost their own movie in some cases.
Yeah, there was like some pressure from the producers to cut the scene with Katrin and her mom because, you know, you don't need it. But I always like just taking a split second away from the movie at hand to just like see that these people live, and like you can just get a sense of maybe if the movie was called Katrin from Germany, what that movie would be like. It's just for a second, and then you can get back to the main thing. But that's important to me.
Let's talk about, is it Marquez? Is that how you say his name?
Marquise.
Marquise.
Marquise Christmas.
Our-
Remember his name?
Yeah, seriously, where did you find him? And Craig, talk about the relationship that you sort of formed with him over the course of either before making the film or during the film.
We we had a meeting right before Marquise went to Germany, and just had a mutual respect. Like he has these very, very silly videos on YouTube, and me having a very, very silly sense of humor. I liked it. So Chad sent them to me. I was like, okay, this dude's cool, So we met, and he was a fan of mine and stuff. So then we met the one time, and then went to Germany. Then I went to Germany, and the next time we met on set. So, but we had a great time. And he's, a real cool kid.
Yeah. So that's where you saw him too, the videos, the YouTube videos?
Yeah, we had been auditioning a lot of professional kids through our casting director and stuff, and nobody was good. Because I think, generally speaking, if you're 13 years old and you already know you want to be an actor, you're probably a bad actor. Because you got to figure that stuff out. You got to live some life. And he didn't know he wanted to be an actor. He was just a kid who was in the Big Brother program in LA, and his big brother is a guy that just for fun makes these comedy web videos, and he started putting Marquise in them. And so they were very much just for play and for fun. And what I got out of watching them was that here was a kid who was comfortable in front of the camera, but was not overthinking anything. He was just enjoying himself. And the one anecdote I love to tell about Marquise, to really sum him up for everybody who doesn't know him, is that after I cast him, I went to his neighborhood, which is not the best neighborhood in LA, to start hanging out with him and try and build a relationship. And I was like, you want to take a walk and we can talk? And he's like, it's not the safest to walk around, and I get I get picked on a lot by these gangbangers. And I was like, oh, because you're small? Because in reality, Marquise is 15. He's older than that girl, but he just is small for his age. And he was like, no, because I'm happy. And I was like, oh, that's so sad and beautiful, but it's so true. He walks down the street, he does not care, he's just got a big smile on his face, he's not acting tough, he's not trying to be anything but the happy, wonderful kid he is. And I was like, if I can capture that and put it in the movie, then I have so much leeway with his acting ability, because that's such a special quality.
I'm going to ask one more question, and then I'm going to throw it to you guys. Is there I can't tell if there's a microphone over here. Is there?
I'm going to get it.
Okay, yeah, we're going to have a microphone over here, so if you guys want to line up and ask questions, please do. Craig, I got to ask about because honestly, it's one of the best things I've seen all year is that final monologue you have in the car with him that ends with "You're grounded like a motherfucker." I mean, it's such a great scene, and it's just watching you talk for that long. You're such a great storyteller. I mean, even if that's all written down for you, it's still you have to sell it, and you absolutely do. Can you talk about just wanting to nail that scene, and just talk about getting through that? How many times do you have to shoot that?
That was take 762.
I think we got lucky because the way it's shot, we had to do it continuous, and then Chad figured out a way to stop in the middle and pick it up. But yeah, it was wanting, it was the preparation and wanting to get it right. That's the longest thing I've ever said in any film, television, anything. I started prepping it probably a week before, and just trying to figure out, in between the scenes that we were doing, just trying to figure out where to go with it and how it was supposed to be done. And I didn't get fired.
It was the last day of Craig. We saved it for the end. And the first time, I never made him practice it. I never went to his room or asked to hear it until the day of shooting it. And I walked into his trailer and I was like, you want to run through this? And he did it for me, and I was like, all right. I don't have to say anything.
It's like a 5-page scene.
Play. All right, who has questions for our guests? Here we go.
Just step up to the mic. Okay. Hi. So I think my favorite scene in the movie might be the headphone scene in the beginning, in the way where he's just kind of little in his own world, and maybe the way that like when you travel, you try to bring something familiar with you to like be comfortable in a foreign place. Can you either talk about something you guys brought with you to Germany to try to make yourselves comfortable, or like maybe an experience like that traveling?
Underwear?
I brought my pillow. Oh yeah. No, that's not true. Guys, I gave up my pillow humming days long ago.
Not expecting this Q&A to get this graphic. All right.
I mean, to seriously answer that question, music is such a huge part of my life that, the reason music is a huge part of this movie is because of that. And there were songs that I listened to through the writing of the movie that helped me visualize it. And anytime I was gearing up for a tough day or winding down from a tough day, I would listen to the same song. I would put my headphones on and listen to the same songs and remember what it was like to visualize this movie in my head and get excited about it. That's what I would say.
I bring my little iPod, the little bitty one. Talking about
A nano?
Nano, yes, I have one of those. It was probably old now, whatever. I bring that everywhere, and I like to, I usually use it to work out, but I had to stop working out because I would condition of my belly keeps hitting the emergency stop button. But I do like to have my Nano with me.
How you doing, Mr. Robinson?
How you doing, Mrs. Boom?
Yeah, I noticed that the movie had some special effects in it, and I was wondering, was that you actually speaking German, or was it special effects?
Ich war verheiratet. Meine Frau ist gestorben. Meine Finger einfach zu wet, das verdammte Ding abzukriegen.
Woo! Thank you, sir.
I don't know why y'all clapping, I totally butchered that.
The scene where we were filming the montage of Craig and his coworkers coaching soccer was not scripted, so all the soccer coaches were yelling out improvised lines in German, and Craig really wanted to participate, but all he knew how to say was, "My wife is dead."
Ich war verheiratet! Meine Frau ist gestorben!
So we have unused footage of him yelling that at soccer kids.
It's a motivational tool for sure. Yes.
Yeah, first of all, I was about Morris's age when I was 18, living in Germany as an expat, and I just really loved the way you evoked a lot of the things that I experienced in Germany, and I really identified with this character. You just did a beautiful job of excavating things from my own memories, so I really appreciate that.
Thanks.
Yeah, one of the things I've always wondered about directors who work in another language is when you're working with the script, do you think the script through in English and then have it translated? The other example I can think of is, it's a completely different movie, but Inglourious Basterds has a lot of German in it. And I was wondering how Tarantino did that. Because the German is so convincing, evoking the culture. He did the same thing in this movie. The Germans sound like Germans. Even the American-speaking Germans sound like American-speaking German. Yeah, ausgezeichnet. I've always wondered how directors work with that. What did you do? What was your process? I'm really curious about that.
So I don't speak any German, or at least I didn't when I started. And in the script, I just wrote a note at the beginning. I was like, a lot of this dialogue will be in German. Those lines are in italics. And so in the script is just all in English in italics. And then once we got German producers on board, they translated that stuff for me. And then I could see what it looked like. And at the time, I was starting to try and take some lessons to get used to the language. So by the time we were shooting, I knew at least what our lines should sound like. But I also felt kind of a great freedom watching those scenes as a director and not knowing like word for word what they were saying and just like looking for the feeling and then like wondering if I was getting it. And generally speaking, they were saying the lines, but once or twice they would go off book a little bit, and I would have to ask. I'd be like, "What did they say? Was that good?" But typically, I knew what they were supposed to say. I knew what it should sound like, and then I was watching to see if I like felt it, which is great. And it's nice to have that experience when you're directing stuff in English. You're kind of hung up on the words sometimes. So. I guess that's pretty much it. And then all of the daily, some poor bastard had to subtitle all of the dailies, every single take of everything, so that when I could watch to see what the best takes were, if there was any variation in the words, they would have had to have done that already.
Well, it feels super authentisch, as they would say.
Dankeschön.
Yeah.
Meine Frau ist gestorben.
I caught that. Thank you.
All right, anyone else? Anyone else? I can't believe there's nobody else, because you guys all...
We got one coming.
I see him. In the dark.
I want to know what Craig's parents thought of the movie.
Yeah, I was gonna...
Hey, Chad, I was wondering, all your films have some similarities. They're all named after people, and you've got some real parental relationships going on, but they're thematically also so different as well, and the cinematography. How much are you aware of repeating yourself and trying to do potentially the opposite? Like, thematically, this is almost the opposite of Martin Bonner, yet there's continued themes of parents trying to connect with their sons.
I don't set out necessarily to do something completely different from the last thing I did, but I do. It's very difficult to come up with an idea that I feel like is worth pursuing as a movie, because I can only get motivated to sit down and write, and I don't love writing. So if I have to feel like it's not a movie I've already seen before. So that by default kind of takes me away from the last movie I made. And so I get more excited about something if it really feels like an opportunity to do something different. And with this movie, when I first started conceiving it, it was like a coming-of-age movie in Europe about a boy who was like sensitive. And it wasn't until the idea came to me that it's like, what if the kid is black? That I was like, oh, that's a movie I've never seen before. And then it all of a sudden clicked into something to get very excited about. Before that, it was like I've seen movies that I felt like mirrored my personal experience, and so that was the key to unlocking like something to get excited about. So, the next movie, whatever it is, it might be a coming of age movie, it might be dealing with teenagers, but something about it will have to feel very, very different. Otherwise, I can't get excited about it. I mean, it takes like 3 years of my life to make these things, so really have to feel like it's going to be worth it all the way to the end.
Sir. Yes, last question.
Okay, I kind of have a question for both of you. One, obviously, Chad, you're balancing a huge amount of tension because you have comedy and you have drama, and you have coming of age, and there's drug use in the film that's never really addressed, which I think is really cool, actually. I would love for kids to see this movie for the reason that I think they would feel like somebody is making a movie about them and the way they really think and some of the decisions that are in front of them. And then, huge fan of so many things you've done over the years. And really curious about what this was like for you to play such, really at the end of the day, a really serious role. I mean, you have some great comic moments in the film. Do you see yourself doing more of this kind of thing in the future, or was this kind of a step away and you find yourself wanting to step back into the comedy world more?
I really enjoyed this. I mean, it's not the first drama I've done, but it's definitely the meatiest role I've had in this genre. I'm looking forward to more. Because of this role, I'm doing this series, season 2 of Mr. Robot. Yeah, because they saw these scenes, and they were like, boom. So yeah, I'm enjoying this ride.
And as far as like balancing the comedy and the drama, the movie plays a lot funnier than I thought it would. I mean, obviously I thought that there was some funny stuff in it and there were jokes, but I'll give you an example, which is one of the very first things that Craig did on set was record his version of Juicy. And I thought he did really good. I thought he nailed it, and I never was like, Craig, make sure you perform it bad so it's funny. But we both like really thought it was good. But then you put it in the movie, and with the context of everything built around it and the way that people are like feeling the story at that point, it's funny. And then subsequently, all those lines in that scene, which were not meant to be as funny as they are, but when she's like, your dad's a rapper, and he's like, no. That stuff is funnier than I always thought it would be. So, I set out to make a movie that just felt honest from scene to scene and like had interesting things going on, and I wasn't so concerned all the time about making sure there was like jokes and that there was laughs. And I think that it's very gratifying to hear people laugh all through that stuff, because to me it just indicates that they're in it. And especially, no matter where I go in the world, the biggest laugh is always that Source Awards line at the end of the monologue scene. And I don't think it's because that joke is so funny. I think it's because people are really into that monologue, so that when there's that tension break at the end, when he says that, people are just so ready to laugh. So it's a great compliment to me that the film is people are laughing as much as they are.
As was said at the beginning in the introduction, the film opens August?
Yeah.
Okay.
August 19th.
End of the summer. Okay. So
August
you
19th.
have August 19th. So you have that much time to tell people over and over again how much you enjoyed this film. Tell them to go see it. Chad and Craig, thank you guys so much, my God, for coming out with this and supporting the festival and supporting the film. And please
Party at Yami Hotel!
There you go.